The 10 greatest historical fiction books of all time, according to you, the people, the masses, the people that vote on Goodreads. Do you agree? Be sure to comment below if you agree on what, popularity says. So let's start with number 10. That would be The Thornbirds by Colleen McCullough. Now this is a multi-generational story about Australia. It's told through the eyes of the Clearys, the Cleary family, Cleary, in the early 20th century in Australia. I've actually tried to read this book many times and have never made my way through it, despite what people say. I don't know, I guess it's just, for me personally, I don't personally like multi-generational stories all that much because, I like to stick with one character. But I don't know, let me know in the comments down below. Am I wrong? Should I get through it? I've really only ever given it 50 pages. Should I give it 200 pages before I give up? I don't know. Number 9 on this list is Shogun by James Clavell. So I have this book, but I've never actually read it. It's more than 1,000 pages and it's about an English dude. It's written by an English dude about an English dude who washes up on the shore of 17th century Japan and sort of, what happens. It's sort of described as kind of Game of Thrones, but in 17th century Japan. This is now a show, which is kind of why I got interested in this. I probably will get to this probably at the end of the year because I'm currently doing a project where I'm trying to read 100 books in a year. So I'm trying to stay away from super thick ones, although, I did actually read The Count of Monte Cristo and Les Miserables as part of my project. But, I think those are the two big, huge books that I'm gonna stay with those for my 100 books. And then after I'm done, I'll probably pick this up. Number 8 is A Girl with a Pearl Earring. Have you read this book? Do you agree? I've actually never read this book. It basically is about, that very famous painting, The Girl with the Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer, and it sort of imagines who this girl was. The author sort of imagines her as a 16-year-old narrator in a Dutch household in the 1660s. That's really all I know about it, other than the fact than what I kind of gleaned from that Girl with the Pearl Earring movie. I didn't watch it all, but I remember watching parts of it with Scarlett Johansson. That's all I know about it, but let me know in the comments down below. Have you read it? Is it a great historical fiction book? Is Goodreads correct? Are the people who vote on these Goodreads lists actually worth listening to? Number 7, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. Now this is really considered his most popular novel. It is a novel about the French Revolution. It deals with a lot of the same themes that a lot of his novels deal with, social injustice, social revolution. It's been a very long time since I've read this book. I actually probably should reread it because Charles Dickens is such a great writer. But let me know in the comments down below, do you agree? Is this one of the greatest historical fiction books ever written? Now the next one, number 6, The Red Tent by Anita Diamant. This is a book that I've actually never heard of. This is actually a story of the woman Dinah. This is a biblical story. I guess she was Joseph's daughter. And as far as I can tell, this book really just revolves around, sort of the turmoil that it was to be a woman in that period of history. But as I said, I've actually never even heard of this book, so let me know in the comments down below if it's a book that's worth picking up. Number 5 on this list, The Other Boleyn Girls. So this is about Mary Boleyn and her sister Anne, and of course Henry VIII. It's about court intrigue and, the machinations of people who are trying to rise to the top of power. I've never read this book before, but let me know in the comments below, is this a book that should be on the list of greatest historical fiction book of all time? Number 4 on this list is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. So I would actually disagree with this one. I have read The Book Thief. So The Book Thief is about a young girl who happens to find herself in the middle of Nazi Germany. Her parents were communists, so they were both killed. She has been adopted by a German couple who don't agree with what the Nazis have been doing, but obviously that leads to its own problems when you're not part of the Nazi party. But I didn't particularly like this book for 2 reasons. One, it was narrated by death, not that I have a problem with that, but there was a lot of spoilers because of that. So a lot of times Death would say, oh, don't worry, this character is gonna die in 6 months anyways. So to me, it didn't really lead to having sort of, the full force of a story when you have a narrator who's giving away that many spoilers. And then beyond that, I really just didn't like the end. The whole point of the end was that human beings are awful and human beings do terrible things to one another. And yes, that is true. But if I'm gonna be reading, I'm reading for an escape. If I want to, have it pounded into my head how horrible human beings are, then I can read a history book or I can watch the news. But, you know, if I want to escape, if I want to enjoy reading, I tend to like to read books that have a sense of hope. I mean, I can definitely read hard books. I've read a lot of hard books, a lot of hard historical fiction books, but they gotta have hope. I didn't feel like The Book Thief had hope. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree. Number 3 on this list is The Pillars of the Earth, and I would agree. The Pillars of the Earth, one of my favorite books of all time. Just such a fantastic book. It's about 12th century England. The story itself revolves around the building of a cathedral, but it's not just about that. It's about a cast of characters and what this cathedral means to them, as well as what is happening in their lives during this very tumultuous period of history. It has one of the greatest love stories that I've ever read, a great love story of unrequited love, but it's not just about that. It's about so much more. And there's so many storylines in this book, and then just the way that they all tie together at the end. So brilliant. I love this book so much. Number 2 on this list is Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Now, I've actually never read this book. I don't know why. It's just not a book that really has ever interested me all that much. But let me know in the comments down below. Should I read it? Is it one of the greatest historical fiction books of all time? You know, some people say it's one of their favorite books. I don't know. I don't really have interest in reading it. And number 1 on this list is Memoirs of a Geisha. Now, again, for some reason, I've never really been interested in reading this book. I think it's probably because my sister read it when it was, you know, this huge smash hit, and she said it was kind of boring. So then I thought, well, I guess if it's kind of boring, then I don't really want to read it. I watched the movie, so I thought, okay, maybe that's enough. But let me know in the comments down below. Am I selling the book short? Should I read the book? Is it one of the best historical fiction books of all time? And also let me know in the comments down below, what are some of your favorite historical fiction books of all time? I do have a video, I think it's my most popular video ever, on this channel, my favorite historical fiction books, and I will link to that now. But let me know, do you agree with this list? Do you agree with my other list? Historical fiction is one of my favorite genres, if not my favorite genre. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about this list?